Shut it back. Words of a faint, something like a bat. Well, I want your love, call me when you can. Girl, going up, going up.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be going over some Cliffhanger. And specifically, I was trying to make a 0-point team. Been trying for maybe 2 weeks. And I think this is the first iteration that we got to work pretty much. And if you don't know what Cliffhanger is, it's right here. It's a Go Stadium tournament for this month. And it's basically you have an allotment of points, 17, and you can choose Pokemon based on their tiers, and each tier has a certain point value associated with it. So at tier 0 or T0, it's 9 points if you want to use one of these Pokemon, and that's because these Pokemon are pretty much the big players in every meta that they're a part of. It's Altaria, Azumarill, Defense Deoxys, Medicham, and Skarmory. And then there's the 5-point tier, which are really good Pokemon, but they have a lot of side grades. That's another thing. The tier 0, a lot of these Pokemon, there are no side grades for, or if they are, they're much weaker. Whereas in the tier 1, there are side grades, and they may be weaker or just a little different in general. And then tier 2 are just really good Pokemon. And then tier 3 is literally every other Pokemon in the game. So a lot of people create their teams, well, I would think either one 9-pointer, one 9-point, one 5, 2 1s, and then 2 0s, or maybe 3 5-pointers to have more of a roundabout or a more well-rounded team. And with those 3 5-pointers, maybe 2 1-pointers and a 0-pointer. So yeah, like I said, we've been practicing a lot. I think I'm going to make a couple more videos just showing our thought process, how we got to this first team that we actually are going in this game with. But with that, let's go ahead and get into the games. This is going to be a best of 5 with Shagness. She's a really good trainer. You can see she's a really high challenger. And so our first team here that we created for our 0-point team was Raichu, Togekiss, Raticate, Relicanth, Poliwrath, and then I put in Steelix, not realizing he was a 1-pointer at this point. So in our current iteration of our team, we don't have Steelix in there anymore, so got that fixed. And her team is Lantern, Sableye, Venusaur, Noctowl, Swampert, and Flygon. So really well-rounded team. I hadn't even thought of Flygon, so I'm going to be thinking about that, maybe adding that, because I believe it is a 0-pointer as well. So we start out Poliwrath into Venusaur, really bad matchup, and we swap into Raticate, which apparently also is a really bad matchup. Raticate, not as good as I wanted it to be. I wanted it in there as a counter to the Psychics, but it actually takes double super effective damage from Defense Deoxys' auto attack of counter, so I really don't think he's that good, and I took him out in the end. So we, like I said, we lost our Raticate, and now we have, we brought in Togekiss against the Lantern, and then swapped into Poliwrath to finish off this Lantern, since Poliwrath's only going to be taking neutral damage from any of his attacks, whereas the Electric will be super effective against Togekiss. And she comes back in with Venusaur, and we don't have any shields left, so we should have gone for the Power-Up Punch. I just didn't calculate the damage very well there. It would have actually knocked out the Venusaur and given us a little bit of better chance in this game. But I think we still lose this game. We were just too far behind from the lead. So second game here, we are going to start off with Togekiss with Steelix and Relicanth in the back. We figure our team's really weak against Venusaur. That's what we figured out in that first match. So I'm trying to catch Venusaur with Togekiss, and I'm willing to use any amount of shields in this matchup, just because the Venusaur is just going to be so painful for us in the rest of the game if it's allowed to live. So we get an Ancient Power here, and she ends up blocking it as well. We get the boost for defense and attack. So we decide we're just going to shield everything and just try to ride this Togekiss to victory. And it takes out the Venusaur. I believe in the back she has a Swampert. Yeah. But we're so powered up at this point because of that boost that we're just going to be doing so much damage and taking so little damage. And we take the last shield there from her. And she uses Hydro Cannon, which actually still does a lot. So that is with the defensive boost. So just for you to know, when Swampert uses Hydro Cannon against Togekiss, it's gonna do a lot. Even though it's not super effective or anything, it just does a lot of damage. And then with Lantern in the back, it's not looking good here. I don't know why I brought in Steelix versus Lantern. I think I was thinking, oh, the Electric's going to get countered, but the problem is we're going to be weak against water there. And then we have Relicanth in the back here, and we go for this Ancient Power. And we know if we can get to one more Ancient Power, we're good, or an Aqua Tail, just any charge move. And she throws out, I believe, the Hydro Pump, which almost takes us out because it's neutral since we're rock and water. And then we get to this Aqua Tail, which I think is going to finish off Lantern. So we take game 2. It's 1-1 already. I'm pretty happy that our team is going even with a pretty good team here. Definitely a more point-weighted team. But we do have the Steelix in there, so this series is pretty much has an asterisk on it. But I'll be getting back to you with a newer version of this team. Actually, I think the only members that stayed on this team were... Actually, I think it's just Relicanth has made it into my newest version. Togekiss is really good. I'll talk about that after the video. Or after these games, I should say. So we want to get Togekiss out of there so that it doesn't die. So we swap into Steelix to try to eat the Venusaur Frenzy Plant. The problem is she'll swap into Swampert, which is absolutely going to destroy Steelix. We don't want to shield anything just because it's going to go down anyways. Swampert charges so fast. We might as well make sure that it has 0 energy going into this next matchup. But we get a little bit of mutual lag here. So this matchup's not great. It's okay though. She does go for a Muddy Water bait, but we were at full life, so we weren't really going to shield anyways. And this Hydro Cannon comes in, does about 40%, 35-40% of our HP. And we just go for an Aqua Tail here since Swampert's so low. We just want to get out of this matchup and into the next one. But we believe... Oh wow, there was a Venusaur still in the back, but she comes in with Sableye, I guess, to gain a little energy before going into the Togekiss matchup. But we still have a shield, so we're going to shield this Foul Play, I believe, which would have been super effective and would have knocked us out. And our charms are just going to decimate the ghosts. So remember that when you bring a ghost in, you might have dark moves on the ghost, which are going to be super effective against Togekiss, but the charm is absolutely going to shred you as a ghost Pokemon. And then Togekiss finishes off Venusaur with its auto attacks. So we're actually up 2 wins to 1. Really surprising. But this team is pretty strong. Besides, well, I should say the team of Relicanth, Togekiss, and Poliwrath are really strong. Maybe just Togekiss and Relicanth. So we start Raichu into Swampert. It's not a great matchup because of ground typing versus the electric. So we bring in our Togekiss, which coming in from the back is a pretty safe swap into most of our team. But Togekiss really can't take a lot of hits, as you see right here. So we shield the Venusaur Frenzy Plant, and we get our own Ancient Power off, but which takes a shield from her, but we decide to just let Togekiss go and try to take out this Venusaur. So it's going to be really bad because our two Pokemon in the back are weak against Venusaur, but we get that Wild Charge through, which brings the Venusaur really low. And then since I have a lot of energy on this Raichu, I just want to shield and farm down the Venusaur to have energy in this next matchup. We throw out a Thunder Punch here as a bait, which does get the bait. Oh, I'm sorry, she brought in Lantern, which does get the bait off. So now we're just going to go straight Wild Charges to try to take out Lantern. But if Lantern ever gets to a charge attack, we're going to go down. But she swaps into Swampert at the exact time that we're throwing our charge move off, so really amazing swap there. We do swap. Oh no, wait, is Raichu down? No, so Raichu got taken out, and we have just Relicanth in the back, and I believe Lantern is really close to a charge move here. And we throw out the Ancient Power. But she just makes it to the, I think it's a Hydro Pump. No, it's a Thunderbolt. Either one would take us out. So really close game there. We almost took the victory, but not quite, not quite. So we really liked that team that I was talking about with Togekiss in the front with Poliwrath and Relicanth in the back. We just want to hide from the Venusaur matchup, so we were hoping that she would lead it. She does not. So we are gonna try to swap out, as you saw there, because we're fine giving up one of these Pokemon to Venusaur, and I should have shielded that with that thinking in mind, because if there is a Venusaur in the back, I need Togekiss to be as healthy as possible. We take this Hydrokin into the face, and she actually finally brings in the Flygon here in the last game. So I have not really played against Flygon much, so I was just trying to get these rock moves off, thinking that with the flying type it would be super effective. But I believe Flygon's typings, now that I think about it, are Ground and Dragon. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. So the rocks throws don't actually do a lot of damage, or the rock slides rather. And we bring in Togekiss after Relicanth goes down to Flygon, which takes out the Flygon instantly from that low HP. And we're actually able, I think we made a mistake right there. We got a little too hasty on our charge attack. We could have just auto-attacked that Swampert down and used our Ancient Power on this Venusaur, which I think would have taken the shield right then and there. Which, if you see our Poliwrath come in, we would have gotten to that Ice Beam. And here I make another mistake. I think I should have gone for 2 Ice Beams, but I get a little too cute and try to bait the shield with a Power-Up Punch. And at this point, I can't go for an Ice Beam because she has another shield. So my only thought is I have to go for 3 Power-Up Punches now. I've put myself in a situation where this is the only line that could win. And as you see here, that isn't even a line that can win. So, amazing play, not taking the shield bait by her. Absolutely. She's such a good trainer, and that play was absolutely amazing. So, let me talk about some of the 0-pointers real quick. So, at this point in my practicing, I had basically thought that Relicanth was the best 0-pointer, and I still think Relicanth is one of the best, probably first or second best 0-pointer. But after these games, you can see that Togekiss does just so much damage with that charm to a lot of the field. And one of the other charm users that's really good is Wigglytuff, but Wigglytuff is a 1-pointer, so that's why I'm using Togekiss here instead of Wigglytuff. I think Wigglytuff probably is better than Togekiss just in general, but that's why it's worth 1 point versus the 0 points that Togekiss is. So if you want a charm user and you don't have a lot of points left, or no points left, I should say, then you should definitely go with Togekiss. And if you haven't used maybe one of your water slots, I think Relicanth is really good. I realize there are a lot of good water types. Lantern, Azumarill, Swampert, and you may not have room for another water type, but if you do, I would definitely think about Relicanth. And then I don't want to go too much into the other 0 point users that I used in my newer team, but because we'll go over that in the next video. And if you want to listen to that, go ahead and subscribe. And we're going to be going over, like I said, one of our more refined 0 point teams. This was our very first team that we had put together after a little bit of practice with all the 0 pointers. So thanks for watching.